What is up, guys? Rich here. Another episode of the Sauna. As always, all your real estate needs, hit me up at California Sold, guys, and we will get you taken care of. All right, real quick, I got to clear the air, right? We know the rates are higher, right? We were spoiled for years. We had 3% like it was going out of style. Got it. Realistically, everybody's waiting for a crash. We live in a different dynamic here in LA. There's a ton of people here. Always somebody ready to buy a property at all times, right? Obviously, the price is right. But the truth is, as you going into buying your home and finding what it is that you want, if the price makes sense, if the payment makes sense to you, you're only hesitating based on rate and what people around you are seeing, right? Yeah, we all cannot see the future and know what the actual market may do. What I will tell you is this. The crash last time was based on people not putting any money down, having adjustable mortgages, and this time around, everybody has a fixed mortgage, right? So if they can make their payment last month, they made it the month before, they made it next month. You get my point. The last crash, what happened was everybody jumped onto a payment that realistically the house was too expensive for them. They couldn't afford it. The intro rate was, let's say, $1,500, and when it adjusted, it became $3,000, $3,500, $4,000, $5,000, whatever. All those loans went out the window. We don't have that type of lending. Now, yes, it does exist, but 90% of the loans that went out the door are fixed rates, which means if people were making their payment over the last year, 2 years, especially like through COVID, they're most likely going to make their payment moving forward, which means no matter how much inflation or how much recession, a crash is probably not going to happen. Why? Because the reality is you're asking for 70% of those loans to default. Well, guess what? 70% of those loans are all fixed rates, and all those people were able to pay it back before, and now they're going to be able to pay it back now. Just because the rates adjusted, for the new buyers doesn't mean the rates adjusted for people who are already in their home. So, my opinion, don't expect to crash. I expect an adjustment. I think we're already seeing it. Pretty much about, I say 10 to 12%, and that's my own opinion. I think people were overbidding like crazy on properties that it was not necessary, but I get it because the rates were so low, so it was worth it. People wanted to be partying at home and hanging out and having backyard get-together since we couldn't go anywhere, which is still a whole nother issue, but we won't get into that. I don't see a crash coming. I just see higher rates, higher payments. And if it makes sense for you and it's the right thing to do for your family, and your job is secure and you pretty much have that, where you feel secure for the next 10, 15 years, pull the trigger and buy the house. I hear this term, they say date the rate. Yes and no. I get it. People always say, well, get into the house and then you can refinance it in a couple of years when the rates come down again. You and I can't tell the future. We don't know if those rates are going to come down again. So I'm not going to tell you to do that because realistically, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if the rates will ever come down to what they were before. We managed to print 40% of all currency that ever existed in 2 years, and we're trying to fix inflation in 3 months. Probably not going to happen. So it's going to take some time, guys. This adjustment is going to be here, and it's going to be here for a while. So it's kind of like that shock value, right? You had gas go crazy, and you went out, and you were like pissed, and then it got higher, and then you're pissed again, and then what happened? Got to put gas. That shock value is pretty much gone. You're just having to deal with it now, and that's kind of where we're at with the interest rates. Like, they continue to go up. I believe they're going to go up again. So realistically, what are we going to do? It's shitty for those buying now, but who knows? Realistically, I don't see them coming down anytime soon. So if anything, buy now that it's only at 6 rather when it becomes 8, because that's going to be the affordability issue, right? And people think, well, if it goes up, the rates go up, then the prices are going to come down. So let me ask you a question. If you owned a home, right? If you owned a home right now, do you want to sell your house for less money? No, right? You want to get what the comps are going for. So you don't want to, drop the price. If it was your home, you're not going to want to drop the price. What makes you think other people are going to? They're going to stick to the guns. And yeah, we're going to see some adjustments, and we're going to see credits, and we're going to see, and I'm a big believer in, negotiations and getting credits and closing costs or whatever. But to say a crash, sorry guys, I don't see it coming. I think the whole dollar would have to crash before we see like a market crash just in housing. Housing was the catalyst, the last crash, right? The adjustments of all the mortgages. That's why it happened, and that's not going to happen now, or else it would have already started. Yeah, it's not gonna be the same. All those people that have mortgages and bought homes over the last 2-3 years, even if they overpaid, they're in a fixed mortgage. It's not going anywhere. It's staying the same. So, and 90% of those people refied to even lower rates than when they bought. So it is what it is. This is where we're at. The rates are 6, sometimes 7, and it's kind of what we got to deal with, guys. So don't be afraid to pull the trigger, guys, because no matter what, any which way you cut it, rent is always going to be 100% interest, right? You're literally paying nothing towards any ownership of any property if you're renting. So if you're capable, you have the down payment, or even want to go through a down payment assistance program, the rates are not, we're not spoiled with the rates anymore. But if your income makes sense and it's something you can do and you're comfortable buying the home, I suggest you buy it. Because no matter what, you got to look at real estate as a long-term play. You can't think you're going to buy something and have all this equity. Just look at it as you're buying your home. And in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, what the value is going to be then. Think of it that way. Don't look at it right now. If you get so consumed by every friend and cousin and the news, and everybody's telling you the negativity, guys, what do you think? You're never going to pull the trigger. And a lot of you were holding off because you felt like the prices were going to come down, or it was going to crash, or the market this, or my friend said that, or my cousin did this, and what did you do? You waited all through the time that we had great rates, and now we have ugly rates compared, right, relative. If we went from 3.5 to 7, they doubled. And all that time you waited because somebody told you to wait because you thought the prices were going to come down. Here we are, guys. So I'm not here to beat up nobody and tell anybody what you should have done. All I'm saying is here we are now. And if it makes sense, move forward. That's it. All right, guys. Till next time, we'll talk to you soon.